The alarms echoed through the hangar bay, not the emergency kind. These were the arrival chimes, soft and steady. Another shuttle had landed at Voidspire Combat Academy. Cadets from across the galaxy stood behind the glass, watching. They expected a new recruit, maybe another armored warrior from a warrior species. But what stepped out of the old, scratched cargo ship was something ... different. It was a human. A young male, short hair, brown skin, sharp eyes. He wore simple clothes, no armor, no helmet, not even a translator node, just boots, pants, and a gray shirt. He looked like he didn't belong. Is that ... a Deathworlder? A scaled Jarnock cadet hissed. No way, said Avatal, her antenna twitching. That's just a soft-skinned primate. Where's his shield gear? His breathing unit? He's not even wearing eye protection. He's gonna die in the first test. The human walked calmly through the bay. No fear, no nerves. He moved. Like he had seen this kind of place before. It's like he had seen worse. A floating registration bot hovered toward him. Please state name and origin. Rik Voss, he said. Earth. The bot paused. Its lights blinked red for a moment. Earth equals Class 5 hostile planet. Species, human. Status, active. The bot shivered slightly and backed away. Registration complete. Proceed to orientation. Rik didn't blink. He just walked forward. From above, instructors and senior cadets watched on screens. Another human? One of them muttered, "They're not common here."
Yes.
One broke his leg in the gravity pit, while this one has no armor. He won't last the week, but one instructor leaned forward, curious. Let's see, she whispered. See what kind of Deathworlder this one really is. Orientation took place in a large hall. Hundreds of cadets sat in rows, some with scales, others with fur, some floating, some crawling. Voidspire took students from more than 80 species. Rik sat alone. The speech was long. Rules, expectations, dangers. Training began tomorrow. Combat drills, live simulations, harsh tests. Instructors explained everything through universal translators. Most cadets had advanced suits to adjust to gravity and air mix. Rik had none of that. He's going to be crushed, a tall, armored insectoid whispered. Gravity here is heavier than his home planet. He'll pass out before the second drill. But Rik didn't look tired. He looked ready. That night, Rik walked to his room. His feet made soft sounds against the metal floor. As he passed other cadets, they stared. Some laughed. You forget your gear, Softskin. Lost your translator, Death Monkey. Maybe he thinks he's invincible. Ignored them. In his room, he sat on the hard bed and opened a small notebook. Paper, rare in the galaxy, he drew. A sketch. 3 jagged lines and a circle. A memory, maybe a mountain, maybe a battlefield. He stared at it for a long time. Later, one of the instructors looked over the day's arrival logs. Her screen flashed Rik's file. No armor requisitioned. No upgrades requested. No implants declared. She frowned. Why would anyone come here with nothing? She said. The other officer shrugged. Maybe he wants to die. He's already been through worse. The next day, Rik stood in line for the first drill. All the other cadets wore heavy armor, thick with tech. Some had personal drones or symbiotic shield creatures. Rik stood at the end, calm, wearing only what he came in. The instructor called out, Voss, where's your gear? Didn't bring any, Rik replied. You need minimum armor to enter. The arena. Back home, we don't get time to put it on. The instructor stared at him. The other cadets laughed, but 1 or 2 didn't. They had seen his eyes, and in those eyes, they saw something terrifying. Not madness, not pride, experience, and the drills hadn't even started yet. The arena lights flashed bright. Metal walls shifted, rising and falling. Smoke hissed from vents. It was time for the first real test. Live Combat Drill 1. Every cadet would face a real opponent, no killing. But pain was expected. Rik Voss stood on the side, still wearing nothing but a simple gray shirt and pants. Around him, other cadets checked their armor. Some powered up shields. Others ran systems checks on their visors or blade claws. They all had gear, they all had protection, all except the human. One Krask cadet, huge and covered in red armor, looked down at Rik. His name was Gorak, 8 feet tall, skin like stone. Fought with a double-headed plasma axe. "Are you my opponent?" Gorak growled. Rik looked up. "Looks like it." "You will not last 10 seconds, Deathworlder," the Krask said, flexing his arms. "I crush mountains with my feet. I train in lava." Rik gave a small nod. "Good. I'd like a challenge." Gorak roared with laughter. "You like pain, maybe?" In the observation room, instructors and cadets watched on screens. Many had already placed bets. Almost no one bet on the human. "Look at him. He's not even wearing a helmet. He'll be unconscious in one hit. Maybe Earth people don't feel pain? Or maybe they're just stupid." Only one voice disagreed. An older Vodal instructor, tall and silent, pointed at the screen. "Watch his feet." The others looked closer. Rik wasn't standing still. He was shifting slowly. His balance was perfect. His knees slightly bent. His eyes never left Gorak. He looked calm, to calm. The buzzer rang. The fight began. Gorak charged, loud and fast. His footsteps shook the floor. The axe spun in his hands, leaving red trails. In the air, he swung, but Rik was already gone. He moved left, low, just enough to slip under the strike. His right hand slammed into Gorak's knee. Not hard, not flashy, just precise. The Krask stumbled. Rik moved again. A fast step, a turn. Another strike, this time to Gorak's ribs. Crack. Even with armor, the hit landed. Gorak roared, swinging wild. Sparks flew. The axe smashed into a wall. Rik rolled forward, then kicked the back of the Krask's leg. Gorak dropped to one knee. The arena fell quiet. Then Rik jumped, using Gorak's leg like a step. He climbed the giant's back and wrapped one arm around his thick neck. "Submit," Rik said. "Never." Rik twisted. "Not enough to break, just enough to scare." "I said submit," Gorak gasped. "I submit." The buzzer rang again. Fight over. The room exploded in noise. What just happened? Did the human just win? That wasn't possible, was it? The instructors reviewed the footage. They saw it again and again. No cheating, no implants, no hidden tech. Just speed, timing, training, and something else. Something hard to name. One instructor whispered it. Instinct. Later that day in the dining hall, Rik sat alone again. But now the whispers were different. That was real combat skill. Did you see how he moved? He reads attacks before they happen. Some cadets looked at him with fear. Others with respect. Even Gorak, bruised and limping, gave him a nod. "You fight like a beast. Human?" "No," Rik said, biting into a ration bar. "I fight like someone who's been hunted." That night, Rik returned to his room. He opened his notebook. Again, this time he drew something new. A helmet cracked, broken in two. He stared at it for a long time, then closed the book. There were more drills coming, harder ones, deadlier ones. But Rik didn't wear armor for a reason, 'cause where he came from, you didn't have time to suit up. You either fought or you died. News of the human spread through Voidspire Combat Academy like fire on a dry world. Everyone now knew the name Rik Voss, the cadet who beat a Krask giant without armor, the Deathworlder who didn't flinch. But was it luck or something more? The next week would answer that question. The second combat test was called the Gauntlet. It was a maze, a living maze. The walls moved, the gravity shifted, the floors could explode. Inside were hidden drones, traps, and surprise enemies. Only the top 20% of cadets usually made it to the end. Everyone wore special suits designed for the maze gravity stabilizers, heat shields, motion sensors. Except Rik. He stepped into the maze wearing only his gray uniform again. He carried a small bag with a knife, some tape, and a strip of cloth. The instructors were watching closely this time. The room was silent as the door closed behind him. Inside, the maze attacked fast. First, the lights went dark. Most cadets switched to visor mode. Rik squinted and kept walking. A drone flew at him from the side. He ducked and rolled, then jumped onto the wall and kicked off, slamming his elbow into the drone's head. It crashed in sparks. The walls shifted. The floor fell away beneath him, zero gravity. Most cadets would float and spin. Rik did not. Grabbed a pipe, pulled himself forward, then launched into a tight crawl space without hesitation. Body moved like it remembered every danger before it happened. The maze threw heat, wind, and electric shocks at him. Rik didn't stop. He climbed, he slid, he sprinted. An instructor watched with a frown. He isn't just surviving, but he's adapting. Another replied, he's solving the maze like it's a puzzle. He's not reacting, he's predicting. The older Vatal instructor spoke again, calm and slow. He grew up like this, not in simulations, in real places, in real chaos. Earth can't be that bad. She turned to him. Have you seen their planet? Poisoned water, exploding skies, giant animals, wars every 10 years, children grow up near fire. The room fell silent. Rik was near the end of the maze now. He had no tech, no shields, but he was still going. He faced the final drone, large, fast, and armed. The drone launched spikes toward him. He dived to the side, rolled, and threw his knife. Direct hit, the drone crashed. He walked through the final door as the buzzer rang. Completion time, 12 minutes, new record. Outside, cadets stood and stared. No one clapped. No one cheered. They just watched. Some looked angry. Some looked confused. But most looked amazed. Later that night, 2 cadets spoke in their room. He beat the maze. The maze. In a shirt. He's not even using our tech. Do you think humans are that strong? No, I think he is. In another room, 3 Vatal cadets spoke in their sleep den. Tried to scan his mind, one said. It's like looking into a storm. He's hiding something. No, he's remembering things. Things worse than this. The next day, the instructors gave him a rest period. Rik didn't rest. He trained. He ran laps around the station while others slept. He practiced knife work with a dummy made of scrap parts. One younger cadet, a small feathered alien, approached him. Why don't you wear armor? She asked. Rik looked up. Where I'm from, if you stop to gear up, you're already too late. She blinked. Aren't you scared? Rik smiled, just a little. Every day. That's why I don't stop moving. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the fastest. But Rik was something else entirely. Not a soldier. Not a brute. Not a machine. He was a survivor. And in a place built to break the best, he was only just getting started. It was the last week of training. The final test. A battle simulation so real, cadets sometimes left with broken bones or broken minds. It was called the field, a huge open zone with hills, buildings, and traps. Each cadet would face a full squad of advanced combat bots. They were programmed to use real war tactics, scan weaknesses, and push the fighter to the edge. Many cadets didn't sleep the night before. Rik Voss slept like a stone. Cadets lined up early in the morning. The field glowed red under artificial sun. Everyone wore their best gear, heavy armor, combat AI, powered weapons, and flight packs. Some even added fresh upgrades for speed or healing. Rik wore the same gray uniform, still no armor, still no helmet, just his calm face and sharp eyes. An instructor stepped forward. Cadets, he said, this is your final trial. You will each enter the field alone. Your mission: survive and neutralize the threat. He looked at Rik. Voss, you're first. The gate opened with a hiss. Rik stepped into the field. The wind blew dust across the fake war zone. Buildings rose in the distance, cracked and leaning. Sirens howled from towers. The bots activated. They came for state of them. Tall, strong, and armed with energy rifles. Rik ran. No fear, no hesitation. He moved like water, sliding behind a wall just before the bots opened fire. One bot rushed the corner. Rik grabbed its arm, pulled it forward, twisted, then slammed its head into the wall. Sparks flew. It dropped. Another bot shot from above. Rik ducked, grabbed a piece of metal, and threw it like a spear. Direct hit. The bot crashed from the tower. He kept moving, fast-focused, no wasted motion. He picked up a broken rifle and used it as a club. He broke a bot's leg, crushed another's neck. It wasn't strength. It was timing. It wasn't luck. It was training. The bots learned fast. They circled him. 3 closed in with blades. Rik dropped to the ground, swept their feet, rolled back, and kicked one into the other 2. Then silence. No more bots. Smoke rose around him. Dust covered his clothes. But he was still standing. From the control room, no one spoke. They had seen many cadets win, but never like this. No armor, no backup, no fear. Only instinct, only motion, only survival. Later, Rik stood in front of the instructors. One of them stepped forward. "You've passed every trial," she said. "You've done it without tech, without aid, and without hesitation." She paused. "Why?" Rik looked her in the eye. "My people don't wait for safety. We fight with what we have. You could have died. You could have died a long time ago." I didn't. Graduation day arrived. Cadets stood in formation. Some limped. Some had new scars. All had grown. Rik stood in the middle, same simple uniform, hands behind his back. The head instructor spoke from the stage. "This cycle, 1 cadet broke records. 1 cadet forced us to rewrite what we thought we knew." She looked at Rik. Deathworlder, survivor, soldier. Rik stepped forward as she handed him the elite pin of Voidspire. There was silence, then clapping, then cheers. Even Gorak, the Krask giant, clapped. Even the telepaths nodded. The smallest, quietest cadet had become a symbol. Later, Rik returned to his room. He opened his notebook one last time. This time he didn't draw a weapon. He drew a door. Open. Light shining through. Then he closed the book. On the wall outside the training room, someone had written in glowing ink, "Deathworlder equals weapon." But another hand had crossed out weapon and wrote warrior. Because now the galaxy knew. Rik Voss didn't need armor. It was the armor.